Hey, everybody, on today's episode of the Print on Demand cast, we're going to talk about AI and how it's influencing print on demand. Let's get into it. Hey, everybody, welcome back to the show. Before we go any further, do us a favor. And whatever you're listening to us on, like, subscribe, throw a review, whatever you got to do, just let the people know. Let the automation is something we're going to talk about. But that's not the word I want. I want algorithms. Let the algorithm know that you like what you are hearing. And as always, I am joined by Travis Ross, not from Kona, Hawaii. Unfortunately, I'm sure he'd love to be there at the moment.
Oh, yes.
But he is joining once again from Make Your Mark Design. Travis, how's it going? The week has already been crazy and everything around us. You know, Aaron Rodgers is a Jet. So that's the thing now. And the Avs lost their game last night, which is tragic as we record this on this Tuesday in April. But other than things that have no relation to the content of our show, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. I'm Tuesday, I had a insurance guy come by today. I had a phone call from my CPA and but
That sounds like awful. Two back-to-back things that are
right.
not great.
They're super fun things. Yeah, but we were able to actually we've been working on a process to kind of reuse a lot of our art that we have on coffee mugs and a few other products and put them on new products. And so I was just checking right before we press record, and we have like another 6,000 or so totes on Amazon that we just listed with, all original art that's not all of the art we have, but it's kind of
Sure.
it was the lowest hanging fruit, I guess. Sure. So yeah, that's kind of a win for the day. Tomorrow we're gonna probably do pillows, and we're gonna do some signs with it, and we're gonna put it on t-shirts. So we're at the point where we can kind of do that a lot easier than
Sure.
Yeah, it was a really difficult thing to get to this point, but we're going to be talking about automation and a lot of the tools that are out there, and we utilize some of them to kind of get where we're able to do this. And thanks to Uncle Mike, who was here last week. He helped us with a lot of it as well.
Nice.
And using some of his automation tools and combined with some of the ones that we have, and we got her done, and
nice.
Hopefully we'll see some sales from that during, as we increase the number of products we have during kind of the slower time of print on demand sales. That, who knows? We'll see what happens. Yeah, that was my Tuesday. How was your Tuesday?
Did you just freeze? Oh, you did. Oh, you're back. You froze.
Okay.
I don't know what the recording caught or not, but hey, it's technology and internet sucks sometimes. I think what's happening is that AI knows that we're talking about AI and is afraid that we might be saying detrimental things at some point about AI. And so it is messing with the internet connection. That is my conspiracy theory for the day, for this waffle section. But, hey, what are you going to do? All right, well, let's actually get into point of interest. I feel like the point of interest is kind of congruent with what we are talking about in the main event.
In a way.
So yeah, it's a form of it. So let's go ahead and go to this week's point of interest. Grab a tissue, friends. It's going to get sappy and emotional.
Point of interest.
I should have clarified the bumper is going to get us happy and emotional, not the point of interest itself. But yeah, so we're going to talk about something called it's a website, it's a software that you can use. It's online software called the Creative Fabrica, right? So Travis, where did you hear of Creative Fabrica? How did you come across it, and what should we inform the listeners about as far as its capabilities?
Well, I think a lot of our people know about Creative Fabrica. It's not a very well hidden secret. It's a pretty amazing site, actually, and it's not necessarily a tool or a software tool, but we did part of the reason we decided to do this is the point of interest is because of an email I got about a new feature that is kind of an online tool, so to speak. But anyway, this is Creative Fabrica if you're watching online, and it just has a ton of elements that can be used in your print on demand business. It's like $9 a month. You can cancel anytime. You get a month for free if you want to try it out. But it has millions. It has right here. It says it has 6,778,544 graphics, has 140 fonts, 127,140 fonts. And all of these can be yours if you decide to subscribe, because you get unlimited design downloads with this thing. Now, I think you can buy, little bundles and things like that on their own, and they're cheap. But if you're watching, you can see some of these, it's got watercolor spring flowers, and there's all these fonts. I mean, there are millions. There's mega bundles of these, huge bundles with SVG kind of designs. And
Yeah.
there's a Mother's Day bundle that's just really, really nice. Like I said, there's an urban graffiti font bundle that looks really cool with like super cool font colors. Yeah, it just goes on and on and on and on for literally millions of designs and fonts and such. So for $9 a month, it's a pretty dang good, you know, uh, deal. So here's
Yeah.
like a Shih Tzu dog on a skateboard.
Nice.
That you could you've got an idea. You could put it on a coffee mug like this and sell it.
That was awesome.
Yeah. And, let's see. There was another one that I had that was on this same page that I thought was just gorgeous. It's a Shih Tzu watercolor. I just searched Shih Tzu and I got all of these cool things, but look at that
That's awesome.
gorgeous,
Yeah.
picture there. Yeah. So you search anything really, and you're just going to get tons of different things, as you can see here. Everything from text-based designs. I'm not single. I have a Shih Tzu. I don't know what that means, but I guess I love my Shih Tzu. Then there's all kinds of, graphic illustrations of these dogs, and it just goes on and on and on. And that's just one breed of dog. So,
Yeah.
so there's a lot of different things in here, and I'm not going to belabor the point because we're in an audio podcast and we're looking at a graphic here. But the email I got today, they were talking about a new feature within Creative Fabrica. If you can subscribe to it, if you're already subscribed, you have kind of limited access to it, but it's an additional fee if you want to mess with it. But it really goes in with our point today really well, because you remember that dog on the skateboard. I took that dog and I uploaded it, and then I said, hey, generate something like it. So I took this dog on the skateboard right here, this super cute dog. And then I downloaded that and uploaded that picture to what's called Spark Imagine Mix. So it's Creative Fabrica Spark. And they have these there's Spark Art, Spark Patterns, Spark Crystalline, Spark Image Mix, and Spark Sketch. And I would be lying if I said I understood all of it, but I do understand the Spark Image Mix enough to know that it's basically taking your input and then AI is generating something similar to it. Although I don't think it's all that great, because as you can see, these are the dogs that it put there.
Yeah, it's very different. Yeah, it's a little bit different.
like, what the heck is this guy? Oh, I clicked mix again. I did not want to do that. Yeah, we don't, because this guy has like he has glasses, I think, but he has like 3 glasses, but I don't
Got
understand.
yeah, he's got something. He's got some
Mhm.
problems happening.
Then I also took that other, beautiful watercolor Shih Tzu, and then it came up with not beautiful not
Watercolor, yeah,
watercolor. I mean, they're not bad, but in order to download these, you do have to subscribe to their
yeah,
$9 a month thing, but you can cancel anytime. So, and you get 1,000 credits. So right now, if you, are in Creative Fabrica, you start with 50, but you never get any more. And then every time you utilize one of their features here in the Spark kind of catalog, it uses a credit until you have 0, but you can't even download them because typically you need to download these and then you need to upscale them to get them to the size that you would need to put on a
right,
product
right.
because they're not going to be big enough. So anyway, it's just interesting that all of these different, kind of print on demand sites and just art sites in general are kind of just throwing out these AI products to just be on the bandwagon
Yeah,
because these
yeah.
guys, they
It's not
totally missed the
very
mark.
well refined. Yeah, it leaves
Right.
a little bit to be desired because I mean, there's some that you could, you can type pretty much anything into, and it will give you some kind
Mhm.
of rendering of like, oh, yep,
Yeah.
that's the thing.
And we could
Um,
talk about some of that a little later if, when in our show. But I still don't think that, like, personally, I think $9 a month for what you get, even minus the Spark. The Spark thing is
yeah,
just, to me, it's not ready. It's kind of
it's
it's maybe a
very
few
beta test.
months.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's kind of beta. But the rest of this stuff, I mean, you can just go to the bundles thing and they have all these graphic bundles and you can download hundreds, if not thousands
yeah,
of design bundles and font bundles if you want. It's
yep,
just absolutely incredible for $9 a month. And yes, of course, yeah, we do have an affiliate if you want to check it out. Again, you get a month for free. Just go to printondemandcast.com/creative fabrica and that will take you to the page where you can activate your free trial. Again, check it out. um, you can cancel at any time, but it might help you because some of this stuff you can download as psds, and then edit the psd right there and then output it to your um, as your the png with a transparent background to upload to merch by amazon or wherever else you're
right.
uh, creating products. So there's a lot of things you can do with this site. It's very, very robust. And I would I need to tell you that you do have commercial rights for everything on this site.
Oh,
So
good.
it
Yep,
is
you can.
legal for you to use them all in print on demand. It's totally cool.
Nice,
So
nice.
um, really cool site. Oh, and I'll also say they do have sales every once in a while. So if you don't want to pay $9 a month, you want to wait till they have a sale. That's totally fine. But yeah, if you want to use our link, and we'll get a little kickback on your subscription if you decide to go that route. Yeah, printondemandcast.com/creative fabrica, and I think that does it for the point of interest.
All right. Well, there you go, folks. Yeah, avail yourself of that. And again, as that Spark thing comes along, I'm sure it will improve and be refined because, AI, it's already out there as far as that same idea that's further refined. I'm sure that'll come along
Mhm.
very quickly as well. You could search, like a fish dancing. In fact, I have a fish that can break dance.
What?
Yeah. Yeah. It's only for 20 seconds though, and only
Hmm.
once.
Time for the weekly dad joke.
No fishes were harmed in the making of this dad joke. Just want to put that out there real quick. And so yeah, let's staying on the AI as far as the Spark feature in Creative Fabrica. Staying on that vein, we're going to go to this week's main event. All right, here we go. AI and automation influencing print on demand. How is it doing that? And I think the first question that you guys might be asking yourselves, the first question that we asked ourselves when we were preparing this episode, diligently, might I add, is automation versus artificial intelligence. What exactly is the difference? So, Travis, you mentioned, the process that you're using to upload all of those totes and those pillows and all the things you guys will be uploading, tomorrow, and things Uncle Mike helped you develop is actually an automation feature. So, in my mind, and of course, this is a question slash discussion, is automation to me is like taking a task and and you develop a system that it then can just do it on its own and makes it a lot easier. It kind of just uh, brings efficiency and lets you create a system that allows you to push a button in this case and upload 6,000 totes and just things
Right.
that can make the daily processes and things that are monotonous to uh, a lot easier.
You just totally like went into
Would you
robot mode.
agree?
It was the internet thing,
Did
and
I? Yeah.
yeah, it's all good. It's fine. But
Yeah.
yeah, you
See,
said
dude, I'm telling you.
monotony. Yes, that's basically what automation does. I mean, I think we got the gist of what you were saying. Automation is going to take a task and automate it. It's going to make it
Yeah.
easier, faster, less human touches. It's kind of like what you do in your business when you try to create a workflow for anything, and a lot of times we'll
Yeah.
document and we'll call those SOPs. Well, a lot of times these automation tools are in the middle of our SOPs, and they're part of them. We use a tool called Bulk Mockup, and it's a Photoshop plugin, and they just redid version 1. I think it's on version 3 now, and it's pretty baller. Um, and we can basically take a Photoshop image, create a smart layer inside of it, and then utilize a folder full of our designs and
Yeah.
just go boom, and it'll just output that image on that picture for however many images we have that or however many designs we want to create a mock-up image for, and it'll
Correct.
just output it into a folder. It'll name it whatever we tell it, as opposed to someone going in and doing that manually. That is an automation tool. It's not AI. It's not artificial intelligence. It's just
Right.
automating it. Yeah, the two can get a little, confusing, or you can cross the streams a little bit, but um, the cool stuff can really happen when you can combine AI and automation, and we'll talk about that in a little bit.
Yeah. 100%. So AI image creation is
Mm.
something that obviously we just touched on in our point of interest, but
Mhm.
there's so many different tools, softwares, things that you
Mhm.
can use from Midjourney, Stable Diffusion, again, Creative Fabrica, and Canva are all getting in on it because it is something that is all the rage right now. Like everyone is
Mhm.
talking about AI. And then like there's Adobe Firefly. So I don't know if you guys have seen Adobe Firefly before. If you're watching on the on YouTube or on Spotify, well, I add this video to stream and just you kind of watch it as we talk. But
Mhm.
Firefly, what it's doing right now is taking a scene that was filmed in the winter or the spring and making it a winter scene. I mean, it looks
Yeah,
like this thing is just going to be
it's
absolutely
ridiculous.
bonkers. 3D imaging, 3D, models of an Apple Watch that you can create. So I
Mhm.
mean, it is. I was talking to my friend about it. Like, I don't know necessarily if this is something that, like, is it showing what the full capability will be, and the beta that is going to launch is going to be a little
Mhm.
bit less powerful. But either way, if it can even do a tenth of a percent of what this
Yeah.
thing is doing right now in this video, sign me up. I'm all for it.
Yeah, some of the stuff they're proposing that it can do is like create like an image that you can then download into, one of your Adobe products like, Illustrator, and then you'll be able to edit that AI generated image, because it'll basically download as a vector, and then you can do all of the things that you could do with an illustration that you created.
Yeah.
It'll come out and there'll be layers already. It's just
Yeah, it's
um,
so
absolutely
this
insane.
particular example that I paused on, the person you uploaded a bunch of photos of their headphones, and
Mhm.
the prompt that they give it is my headphones in a studio, and the image that it renders is their headphones sitting on a mixing board,
Yeah.
which is absolutely crazy. And then they say, in a backpack, and they do the same thing. So I cannot wait to actually get this and start messing around and seeing what
Yeah.
exactly it can do, because it seems super, super powerful for sure.
Yeah, it's in beta right now, so you guys can go to just Google Adobe Adobe Firefly and find where you can enter, like ask to be included in the beta. I did several weeks ago and still haven't heard
Mhm.
anything, but can't wait to play with it because we do use all Adobe products here
Yeah,
already. So I want to want to see what it can do, and because the cool thing about all this AI stuff and this automation stuff, what it does is it just takes the lid off of um, previous roadblocks, or it just kind
yeah,
of it knocks them out of the way. It starts keep letting your imagination soar again,
yeah,
and all of these things can happen, and because of this new technology that's out there, it's actually kind of a fun time to be in print on demand, even though it can be a little scary. And we'll talk about, I mean, there is a there is an actual ethical kind of argument against using some of these AI image creation tools.
yeah,
My wife, she is an artist, and she does not like um, this stuff. She
yeah.
doesn't like Midjourney. I'm like, oh man, look at this cool thing that this AI thing program made, and she's like, nah, I don't like it. And I don't think she's just being a a curmudgeon or anything.
Right.
I I think she's there's an ethical side to this that for this AI um, program to learn, it had to train on thousands, if not millions of
Reference.
different
Yeah,
pieces of art.
yeah.
And these pieces of art were created by actual artists that don't get any credit
Correct.
for what the AI is outputting. When I throw in my prompt, show me uh, a beautiful stream in the style of such and such artist.
Yeah,
That artist doesn't get any credit for that, even
sure.
though
You
that
could
AI
create Bob
trained
Ross
on it.
paintings, and Bob
Yeah.
Ross's
Yeah.
family will never see. That
Exactly.
there's a strange. I mean, I think on all levels of AI, not just the image generation, but we were talking to, we're having a conversation with my father-in-law, and he was talking about a conversation he had with Luke, who has been on the show.
Mhm.
And Luke is a pastor, and so his ethic is like, can AI write a worship song, and is that ethically okay? Or it writing
Mhm.
sermons, you know what I mean? Like taking the human element out of this whole thing, which is a part of all encompassing, like taking the human element, like to your wife's point, like no one drew that, like, and someone
Right.
drew it as a reference point, and now it's getting stolen. So there is a lot of
Mhm.
like there's definitely an ethical rabbit hole that you can
Yeah.
wander into down into.
Yeah. And my argument to her, and I haven't landed on a side necessarily, but I probably am closer to being okay with it than she is. But my
Yeah.
my argument to her was like, well, you're learning to paint right now, and you're looking at all of these other artists,
Yeah.
things as a reference, and you're even imitating them. You're looking at a painting that someone else drew, and you are drawing it. So you are kind of doing the same thing. Obviously, it's on a incredibly, an infinitely larger scale when it comes to AI learning,
Yeah.
algorithms and models. But I don't know. So I don't know necessarily where I land on it. But and you even take that side of it, and with the ethics, it starts getting into the legal side of things, and there are some legal. Uh, yeah, I don't know all of the ins and outs of this stuff, but I know that Midjourney has, and I think Stable Diffusion have had some lawsuits come against them, um, challenging the idea of copyright and like who owns the art that AI is producing.
Right.
Don't know. I think that's going to be a long time before, the courts kind of rule on that and it becomes the law of the land.
Yeah.
But so I mean, take that with a grain of take everything we say here with a grain of salt. If you want to use AI image creation in your print on demand business, um, because eventually it may not be legal. I mean, I personally doubt that that's the way they're going to rule.
Yeah.
Because I think AI is there's so much potential. It's so going to be so ingrained into our society. I just don't know how they will kind of legislate that. I think they're going to try, but I don't know about the copyright side of it. Anyway,
Yeah. It'll
go ahead.
be that was one of the things when we were kind of getting ready for the show. One of my questions in my mind was, how will it affect copyright down the road? Because we know that platforms like Amazon and even Etsy now are starting to kind of buckle down on the AI
Mhm.
side of things.
Yeah.
And will it come to a point where they somehow start to dictate or assign ownership of these things that are just randomly being generated? Like, again, seems like a long way off, seems like a very convoluted process and a lot of like needles and haystacks to find in order to actually give precedent for anything like that
Mhm.
in a legal realm. But I mean, crazier
Yeah.
things have happened, I suppose, in their own context. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it evolves. And there's also, we were talking about images, AI images. There's also,
Well,
uh, well, first
before
we
we
can
get
talk
into
about like the
that,
process. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, like, so I've seen a lot of really cool videos online that kind of outline this. So, um, basically using particularly Midjourney, which, in my opinion, is one of the better um, image creating AI image creators,
Yeah,
and they'll take it and through the use of specific prompts where they're saying, "Hey, I want a T-shirt design. I don't want a mock-up. I want an actual T-shirt design, and I want it on." A single color background or something like that to
right,
where they're getting something that they can't because right now these image creation softwares will not output a PNG with a transparent background. They'll
correct.
only, put out something that's going to have a background. So that's one of the downsides that is not necessarily a perfect workflow yet because you have to take that image once you've created it. But all that to say is if you get the right kind of prompt, you can use some of that language in your prompts as you move forward. And so
Right.
go watch a bunch of YouTube videos on it if you want to do this, because they're giving away the farm in these YouTube videos about, what things to say. So when you get that final image out, it's easier to edit and take out that background and, kind of do some of this
Yeah,
stuff. They even show you how to, make it to where you can't tell, you basically are fixing some of the edges so it looks like more like a t-shirt image should. And so anyway, once you get that image out, you then need to upscale it to because you're only going to get like a 500 by 500 for the most part. So you need to upscale it. There's tools out there online that are free to do. There's also paid versions of those tools. And then you need to remove the background. But once you've done that, I mean, you've got a really nice image that you can use on a lot of products. And
yeah,
technically, it didn't cost you anything except for what you paid Midjourney for your monthly fee, which I think they've got plans as low as $10 a month.
yeah,
So rinse and repeat, and you can get a lot of really great things that are unique because the AI generated it and it didn't generate it for anybody else.
Right.
It's unique to you. Whether or not you own it, that's a whole nother discussion that we just alluded to. But yeah, that's how you can use these AI image creation platforms to create really cool designs. Because I mean, I wouldn't just put that design on a shirt. I would put it into Photoshop and then maybe add some text and make it a little more, unique. And I think that might even protect you a little bit from that copyright stuff that may come down the pike eventually.
Yeah,
So
totally.
that's an idea too.
Yep. And then we have the language models, AI language models, chatbots. We've talked about ChatGPT quite a bit here on the show. And there's Google's Bard, and there's tons of other ones as well. I know numerous.ai you can use to utilize ChatGPT in a spreadsheet, which I find to be quite interesting. And then, of course, there's processes to use in POD as well. Again, we've alluded to it in previous episodes, but bullet points, descriptions, titles, keywords. I mean, ChatGPT is pretty impressive as far as the stuff that you can ask it and then tweak and get the more of a kind of the niche down answer you're looking for. I mean, it's really, really cool to experiment with for sure.
Yeah, I've used it in a lot of different ways. You can ask it for ideas too. You can say, "Hey, write me poems for mothers. Write me 10 poems for a mother from her daughter that are only 5 sentences long." And then you can take that and put those on like message card jewelry that like Shine On does or Gear Bubble does. And then you can, you have 10 of them right there. Boom. It's just done. And you can take that and, add that to your design or whatever. You can use Creative Fabrica, download Creative Fabrica's. They have Shine On templates for, for jewelry, and then just open up that template and then put it in there for, your Shine On jewelry. And I mean, there's so many different ways. That's just, you can, that whole numerous.ai program, it's basically an extension that you use in Google Sheets. And you can put a list of things in column A, and then in, all the way over in column E or something, you can write a Chat GPT prompt and say, add or create SEO titles for this list of products, or, create tags, or, any of that stuff. And then you literally drag the formula down and it just populates as it goes. That's freaking amazing. And numerous.ai, you can go check that out. It does a lot of other things, but besides just that, you can also use it in Google Docs as well for different things. But very, very cool utilization of ChatGPT. And that's the thing, you're seeing ChatGPT, they opened up this API and everybody's using it to create bots. I have a thing on my phone, I think it's called Butler or something like that, or I don't remember what it's called. And it's ChatGPT in my pocket, and I can just say, "Hey, what is blah, blah, blah," and ask it a question, and it'll use ChatGPT to answer that question. So when we're talking about like using AI and automation for your business, this is exactly what we did to get those 6,000 plus products up. We used, some of the automation tools that Uncle Mike has, an automation tool for creating mockups. We have this bulk mockup automation tool. We used kind of a combination of those things. And then we used Excel with a list of our old titles for our coffee mugs, and we just eliminated 11-ounce coffee mug and replaced it with 12-ounce canvas tote.
Right.
And so every place it said that, we just replaced it and, and did a find and replace for 6,000 things. And we, took some other things out and manipulated some of it. And then we ran that thing through Chat GPT's, on a sheet, and said, give me SEO keywords separated by comma, no more than 250 characters, go, and then just drug the thing down. And it took, a little while to do, and probably cost me $2 or $3 in API credits or whatever, however, Chat GPT and OpenAI do that. But it just populated all of these, at the cell with all of these potential SEO options, for me. And then we uh, we squeezed the words together to where there's no spaces between the commas, so we didn't lose any characters that way. And then so that was how we got a lot of our keywords. Yeah, so in one fell swoop, I've got my titles, which I can just use Excel to append and
Yeah.
say, if it's something about a nurse or whatever, now I can say I can say it's a tote. Now next time I can replace the tote with a pillow. I mean, there's all these different things we can do
Yeah.
through automation, combined with um, AI. In this particular sense, the Chat GPT thing. It's very,
Yeah.
very cool. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why, and it's a cool way if you take some time to learn, numerous.ai. I know for me, I'm like, man, I wish I could. Is there a way that I could get this to do that? And how do I do that with how do I format this or data validation or whatever? It could be a good way to kind of just say, hey, ChatGPT, I want what's in column A to be some of column B, and then spit it out to column E or whatever. So
Mhm.
it could be really cool. Some examples of automation. You released a video on Vexels and Canva, Vexels quote generator, and the Canva bulk create, which I know
Yeah.
if people go to our Instagram page, they can see the byproducts of those systems as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Some of the things on our Instagram were done with this system. But I put out this video because Vexels just came out with a new quote generator. Um, and and so I utilize that in the video, show kind of what that can do. It's really cool. It could download to a text document. And then you can take that text document with like 5, 10 quotes or whatever that you generated from their quote generator, take it
Yeah.
over to Canva. You can create, you know, um, basically create your template for your t-shirt or your whatever. And then you can use bulk create to basically insert every single one of those quotes into that canvas in the same way, and it just outputs. So if you make one cool design and you have a cool font and it's all about soccer, and you put a big soccer ball in the middle, and then you frame it with these quotes,
Yeah.
um, you can all of a sudden have 10 soccer, you know, uh, designs ready to go in like, or 100 if you want, and
Yeah.
using Vexel's quote generator, which is AI based, and then Canva's bulk create, which is just an automation tool. There's no AI in that particular part of Canva. And so you're combining the AI and the automation, and all of a sudden you have 100, transparent background
Yep.
soccer t-shirts that are ready to upload to, whatever site you want to. And it's just very, very, very cool. Anyway, you can check that video out if you go to our YouTube, printondemandcast.com/YouTube. And it's one of the most recent videos that we released. Also send it out to the Facebook group and the newsletter.
Newsletter.
So
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
crazy stuff.
Yeah. It's nuts. I mean, we've talked. I mean, this is just a few ways that you can use this tech in your business. I mean, the question is like, what do you think the future of AI will be? And if only there were a handful of Hollywood movies that could potentially give us some kind of clue or some kind of inclination of what happens when we use artificial intelligence in this way, iRobot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we've kind of talked about a little bit how it might affect the POD industry, but I think you'll start seeing a lot. I mean, it kind of makes the barrier to entry a little easier from a design standpoint. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
You don't
Sure.
necessarily have to go find a VA that is good in Photoshop. You don't even have to go to Upwork. You can pay $10 a month for Mid Journey and just spit out some design, or you know what I mean. So I feel like
Mhm.
there's gonna be a lot more people who are going to want to take a crack at print on demand and printing shirts It might be kind of a Wild West thing, like most new things are, until there's some form of regulation, either it be it federal or from the platforms themselves trying to kind of crack down on it if they feel
Mhm.
like it's being abused or is becoming
Yeah.
an issue. But so I can see a lot more people, like an influx of people wanting to use this tool to get
Mhm.
into the POD industry because they no longer have to have the design skills necessarily. They just have to know what they think looks cool and
Yeah.
they want to put on a t-shirt. So whether that results in, you know, the market becoming, I mean, the market is already saturated. I feel like a lot of people are doing POD. You know what I mean? It's just
Mhm.
how it is, and it's how it is
Right.
in any industry over a given amount of time. But I think
Yeah.
that's one way that we'll see it affected is that people are just going to be a lot more eager to try POD because AI is getting to a point where they can just leverage that for the designs until the other shoe drops, if it ever does, as far in
Yeah.
regulation, like we've talked about.
Yeah, I think, yeah, we're already seeing a lot of people get into print on demand. I mean, it's the new, latest, greatest thing. And, with all these home crafting tools,
Yeah, yeah,
the crickets of the world, and, it's just making that barrier to entry lower and lower and lower. So yeah, I think we're going to see that regardless of the AI. I think AI brings a whole nother kind of, I don't know, just a whole nother dimension to it. I was talking in one of my Facebook groups, chats. I was talking, and one of our guys who listens to the show, Chris, was telling me he thought maybe he was hoping that AI would be able to change a design from a light version to a dark
mm,
version.
yeah,
So you could, because like when you make a design, maybe it'll look great on a black shirt, but it wouldn't look great on a white shirt because there's white elements in the design itself. And
yeah,
so turning those into a different color,
yeah,
basically kind of creating, input something and say, make this work on a dark shirt. Bam. That would be a
yeah.
great
I
use of
to
AI.
to that end too, I wonder who will be the first big company in terms of, a Brother and Epson to try and use
Integrate that
AI
into a
elements
machine.
into or like the RIP software, like a garment creator, to
Hmm.
where you can modify images that you upload and create variations of it and change the colors and that kind of stuff to where when you're going to print it, you can manipulate those things or even generate images from the RIP software itself to be
Yeah.
printed, which would be an interesting um, addition to that kind of software. So
Yeah. That would be really
interesting.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And though I think there'll also be like, I know right now we're talking, you can say, use Chat GPT for SEO, titles, tags, etc. But I could also foresee some companies actually creating specifically for that reason, SEO trained
Yeah.
chat bots that are
Hmm.
going to give you super optimized keywords instead of,
Yeah.
you might have to filter
100%.
through a couple in Chat GPT or kind of see what actually is going to work. But I think there'll actually be some more refining that comes to that particular application of AI as well.
Yeah, I can't imagine like, SEM Rush and, um, you know, all these big companies that are, they already have
Yeah,
thousands, if not tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of subscribers, giving them hundreds of dollars every single month just to get access to their algorithms that kind of assume what Google is seeing when they look
yeah,
at your site and give you suggestions and all of this stuff. I mean, when AI gets in there, and now, that's, I guarantee they're already working on that. That's
yeah,
going to be a super, super huge value add to some of those services. Um, and then maybe they'll have some for, the commoners like us as well that are more more just, but yes, using actual SEO practices and, um, procedures and like how to create good SEO and training that particular chat bot, on that data to where they understand it in such a way that they actually can give you stuff that is going to work in your SEO. It's
Yeah.
kind of a crapshoot right now, but that's a really cool idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another one, I didn't show earlier on the Creative Fabrica. The very first thing I did on that Spark idea thing, I uploaded a image that had text, and what it spit back as like, hey, this is an idea based on your thing, was just,
Yeah.
it was gobbledygook. It was total gibberish. And that's the one thing right now. If you ask anybody about AI image generation, there's two things that it can't do. It really sucks at hands. It gives people like
Yeah.
6 fingers and 20, 3 thumbs and whatever. And then it can't do text. So I can see huge improvements
Yeah.
in the ability to do text. And you saw it even in that Firefly thing. It was doing text. It was
Oh,
giving
yeah.
you really cool. I don't know, man. I like that Firefly thing. That seems like Gen
Yeah,
2.
well, it shows that you can create like vector images and enter in a handwritten font and say, "Give me examples," and it can create fonts for you. And then you can add, I
Wow.
mean, honestly, and from like the video editing aspect again, where it's a spring, other examples where there's a girl on the beach and it says, "Switch this to a cold winter morning," and it switches the background, and it says, "Switch it to
Yeah.
the golden hour," and it switches the lighting and the sun, and like sky's the limit with that thing. I think Adobe is about to really cause some folks to up their game as soon as they drop that in beta and in its full form.
Yeah.
So, um,
And I was just to say, and you think about like some of the first versions of Photoshop compared to where
yeah,
it is today.
yep,
What in 10 years, what is Firefly going to be able to do compared
yeah.
to where,
I mean,
what they're going to
Firefly
drop?
could, for design editing and stuff, it could just completely replace Photoshop. If it's going to be
Yeah,
this thing where you have layers and you can add this and type that
potentially.
and change it, and you know what I mean? Like it's completely
Yeah,
as far as like the photo alteration aspect of what Photoshop is used for typically. I think Firefly might alleviate some of that learning curve where people would just be like, take this person out and add this. I want to change that. And let's, you know, I think it's gonna be crazy. That
yeah,
and deep fake might change the world for the worst. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
yeah.
Uh, which deep fake is a whole nother conversation, another
It
whole
is.
another kind of AI that is more nefarious, I think, in
Yeah,
its intentions than what we're talking about today. So,
yeah.
Travis, anything else before we wrap this one up?
Yeah, I love this conversation. I love this topic. It's so fascinating to me. I'm in a couple of groups of on Facebook, like messenger groups of people that are kind of into this stuff, and we talk all kinds of. There's a great newsletter called Ben's Bites, and you can just Google that. Ben's Bites has I think it's almost a daily newsletter, and it has so many cool like new things that are happening in the world of AI and new programs that are being launched. That's how I found out about that spreadsheet app. I also found out, yeah, there's a lot of other things that I found out just by reading that or being on that mailing list. But yeah,
Yeah,
we just wanted to kind of give you a few ways that specifically that I'm using in my business right now, using some of this AI technology and these automation tools, and like get your brain going. There's
yeah,
so much potential here, and so these are just a few ways, and there's so many more ways that this tech can help you scale, can help you new um, better ways of doing things and getting more product out there. And there's so much to this. So
yeah,
that's really kind of the impetus for this episode. And we hope that it just got the gears going and some of the ideas churning for you to grow in your business. And if you have other ideas about how you can use some of these, I mean, we talked about Vexels, we talked about Canva, we talked about Creative Fabrica,
yeah,
my gosh, Mid Journey, the list goes on. There's so many different ways these things can work together. So if you have a specific workflow, we would so love for you to share that with us and say, hey, I did this and I
yeah,
used this and then I did this. Please come, send us an email, printondemandcast.com/Facebook, post in the Facebook group, DM us on Instagram, printondemandcast.com/Instagram. yeah, dude, just send it, let us know. This is so fascinating to me. And
Yeah.
I could geek out on this for many more hours.
Hours. It's the kind of conversation that's, belly up to a bar and have a couple drinks and just let your mind wander about all the
Right.
possibilities, and usually involves lots of pulling up of YouTube videos and references and, like all of that kind of stuff. But like Travis said, printondemancast.com/Facebook is where you can go join the group and let us know your experience, what you're doing, what you're experimenting with, what you're trying. We want to know if you've created some dope images. Let us know. Show us. If you create a Print on Demand Cast logo with the 80s vibe, let us know. That would be cool. It'd be great to see all of that. And we're also on Instagram, printondemandcast.com/Instagram, and then /YouTube is where you can also go to find us on the social media platforms. Like I said in the beginning, if you would be so kind as to leave us a review on whatever, well, I say whatever platform, but really it's only Apple Podcasts that you can leave us a review and give us a rating and let us know what you're thinking of the show. You can give a star rating on Spotify as well, and that too is greatly appreciated, although I think the majority of people are on Apple Podcasts. Talking about AI, Travis, at what point will AI be to a place where we just type in a topic and it just can recreate our voices and then just records it for us? The voice AI, the voice that's happening. I've seen a couple videos on YouTube that's pretty crazy. But I don't know where that came from, and that would never happen. We would never lie to you, folks.
I mean,
and
maybe it's
AI,
already happening right now.
you would never know. Maybe the internet issues aren't internet issues. It's just glitches in the system. We're just ironing out the kinks. Just kidding. So yeah, leave us reviews there and let people know about the show. Share, subscribe, like, download, all of the things to help the algorithm know that you like the content, and it should be in front of more people's faces and in more people's ears, which is a more intrusive sentence than I counted on it being, but it's too late. I said it and it's done. So until next time, for Travis, I'm Josiah, and we'll see you right here on the Print on Demand cast.
See ya.
Hey, babe. Thanks for listening to this week's episode of the Print on Demand cast. We hope you enjoyed the Totally Tubular Show. If you've got a question or a suggestion for the show, send Travis and Josiah an email at info@printondemandcast.com. Want to be wicked nice? Take a minute to rate and review the show on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. And don't forget to subscribe now so you don't miss next week's episode. See you next time, for sure.